Howdy folks, thanks for tuning in. Hope y'all doing okay today. So this one is not for kids at all. So if you got kids in the room, I'm going to give you a 5 second. You can pause it, get them out of here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I know I'm counting at hide and seek pace, but you know, I'm an overgrown child. So I forget the county of the schools that this was in. Loudoun County, maybe, now that I get thinking about it. I tell you what, this is a sad situation. So I did a little bit more digging today while I was at work, and I found out some more stuff. Essentially what's happened at this school is in May of this year, a bisexual student that wears women's clothing. Now, this article is the best of public available knowledge, subject to change. As of the date of this recording, I believe it's, Wednesday, October the 13th. This is what is publicly available, subject to change. A teenage bisexual male that enjoys wearing women's clothing entered into a girl's locker room or restroom and forcibly raped a teenage girl. Okay. While he was, shortly after that, he was placed on house arrest, so he's just going back and forth from home to school. I know people have been placed on house arrest before for way less than that. By the way, it was conclusive based on a rape kit and DNA evidence, so this girl was raped and this guy did do it. There is a plea deal expected to take effect late this week, early next week. And apparently, like a week ago, this same kid did something very similar to another female student in the school. Rewind a little bit, his first victim, when all that happened, the father gets a phone call from the school, says, hey, something's going on with your daughter. Now he's expecting she's been bullied, she's been in a fight, maybe she's sick, something like that. He gets to the school explains what happened, and they're like, we're going to handle this internally. And he's like, no. He called the administrators, some colorful names, we'll put it there and leave it at that, not going to repeat such words. And essentially, the school then called the police on the father of this girl that got raped because they wanted to handle it internally and not hand such things over to the police. Which, there are laws for reasons, the way I look at it. And, if it's something that's worth trying as a juvenile, it's worth trying as a juvenile, but you still have to involve the legal system in order to do such things. Well, so I don't know if he was arrested there, just escorted off school property at that particular instance. I'm not 100% certain on that. Fast forward, they had a meeting on basically expanded restroom access for transgender students and things like that, and this guy's going there to vehemently oppose all this. A woman gets up in his face saying that he doesn't know what he's talking about. A woman that was just there as a parent, a school administrator, said that they have had no issues with anything like that, and he's getting pretty upset. A cop is there, walks up to him from behind, grabs his arm, he shrugs the cop off, then proceeds to get tackled to the ground, arrested, and drug out. A second female student was sexually assaulted. Within a week of this male student that raped the first one, having his plea deal entered. So, first off, I don't understand why the juvenile justice system is letting this kid go anywhere around victims, potential victims, and around the victim that he originally assaulted. I don't understand why he's allowed back in that school building. Second off, I don't understand why school administration is allowing this rapist that's going to take a plea deal to continue to be in the school without supervision. If I were a school administrator, I am hiring someone that is big and mean looking to keep an eye on him 24/7, and he is not to go anywhere alone. And if he tries to, he gets drug out of the building and handed over to the school resource officer and taken to jail. My take on it. I don't know how legal that is, or I'd just say you're not coming in my school, you're suspended pending your court date or your plea deal. That's what I'd do. Or if I were the school principal, I'd just say you're sitting in my office all day, or you're staying with the school resource officer all day. I would find something to do with that kid aside from let him go and mingle with the students as normal, or mingle with the students in a fashion that he could sexually assault another student. Now, all that said, last night I get home. I have 4 kids. I have 3 girls, 2 of which are assault survivors prior to me meeting my wife. Okay? So I've seen the damage that this stuff does personally. I understand how deep and traumatic these experiences are, and I have very little patience for those that commit such acts. Okay? So I gathered all my kids up last night when I got home, and I told them, hey, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but at a school out of state, Loudoun County, I didn't give them enough details to figure it out, but I'm pretty sure it's in Arizona. I said, I don't think anything like this would be happening here, but essentially something bad happened to a student at school, and the teachers and the principals didn't do anything about it. And I want to know how your school day is. And if something bad happens to you and the teachers and the principals don't do anything about it, I want to know about it, because I can fix it one way or another. Okay? So that's what happened. And my wife and my mother were kind of curious about what was going on. And so we stepped out on the back porch while the kids were inside. My mother lives with my wife and I. Clear that up real quick. We stepped out on the back porch. I explained the situation to them. My wife had to go inside and take care of something. My mom and I are sitting out there talking. And I said, now, I want to preface what I'm about to say. This is not a threat of violence. I live nowhere near, to my knowledge, Loudoun County. I have no direct animus towards any of the school staff in Loudoun County, nor do I have any travel plans to Loudoun County. Now, I said all that to say this. My opinion, if the DA doesn't take the fact that this kid is now a repeat offender, allegedly, into account, and throw the book at him, and if the judge doesn't throw the book at this kid in spite of the DA, and if school administrators, everything's fine, we only let 2 students get raped by 1 student, everything's fine, really, it's fine. If they don't change their tune and have the safety of students, that you're supposed to hand them over for 9 hours a day as a top priority, regardless of whatever regardless of how offensive it is to any community. If it's unsafe, you don't do it. Period. If the safety of the students doesn't become a priority, it would not surprise me if not only do district attorneys, judges, law enforcement, school principals, elected school officials, and on and on and on up they go, they first off attempt to hold them responsible in the courts. Like, hey, you knew this happened and you didn't keep this kid under lock and key somewhere, and you let him back in the school, or you let him out of his house. Oh, this kid wasn't being kept under lock and key by the courts. You let him back in your school. On and on and on. And you can run that down however you want. where first off, they're going to start trying to sue, and if that doesn't go anywhere in the courts because of legal bias or lack of evidence or whatever, it would not surprise me if these fathers decided to commit acts of violence against those officials. Everyone in that chain. Ever watch Law Abiding Citizen? I have. Not pretty. We elect these people to protect us, to enforce laws, to keep our students safe, and to educate them. And when they don't do their jobs, they no longer serve their purpose. And I was talking to Mom last night, and I said, men, it's very hardwired and ingrained into us to protect our families. It's genetic. It's what we've done since the days of the caveman, pre-civilization, all that stuff. We are hunter, protector, gatherer people. I remember there have been multiple times I've swept through various houses that I've lived carrying a firearm and flashlight. When I'm in public, I'm always keeping an eye on my kids and an eye for threats and things like that. It's hardwired, ingrained into the male psyche. So if these parents don't get satisfaction, something will happen. And if things like this are allowed to continue to happen, you have more parents going after the exact same number of officials in this particular county. I don't think it ends up being good for anybody involved. And the saddest part is, right now, innocent teenage girls are the ones paying the price for school board members not wanting to offend anybody, and for not taking safety and education as their top priority. So, that's what I got to say on this one, folks. I hope that long term this becomes a case study and there is a social rethink. I hope this story gets more widespread attention so that, well, that's never happened. Aha! And I hope that it doesn't have to happen again. That's my big hope. And if this kid doesn't get the book thrown at him, that assaulted these two girls, I would not be the least bit surprised if he reoffends. And I also would not be the least bit surprised if someone decides to take justice into their own hands. That's what I got for today, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Y'all take care.